Welcome to Canada's Entrepreneur, where we talk to the entrepreneurs who are making it happen across Canada and deliver the news, trends, knowledge, and opinions from entrepreneurs and business influencers across the country.
Futureville, building Canada's first healthy longevity village. Go to futureville.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Angela Faye. Today we are talking about the self-storage industry in Canada from a high level all the way down to how, if you're a landowner, you can actually get involved with modular storage and get double the revenue off your land. So let's jump in. With us today is Max Picton. He's a Canadian entrepreneur from Penticton, BC. Hi, Max.
Hello.
Hi. And he is known for turning bold ideas into efficient, reliable businesses. So in 2020, he launched Canada's first fully automated modular storage facility, and also has a unique product that he's going to tell us more about. And he co-founded Blue Lock, right? This entry system, which is not only for new developments, but potentially for existing developments. So stay tuned. Rooted in the Okanagan lifestyle, Max is an avid mountain sport enthusiast, proud husband, father of two, and he aligns technology with scalable, cash-flowing assets to create dependable opportunities for investors. So, Max, welcome to Canada's Entrepreneur.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in. Tell us at the highest level about the self-storage industry in Canada.
Yeah, well, I mean, self-storage has taken off recently. So if you follow real estate at all, you've probably been hearing the buzz about self-storage. And the reason for that actually goes back a few years. And so it used to be this kind of mom and pop industry, asset class that nobody paid too much attention to. And then what ended up happening was back prior to 2008, we had the first third-party management company come into existence. Mm-hmm. And when they came into existence, that allowed the REITs, the real estate income trusts, to actually start purchasing self-storage and, more importantly, collecting data on self-storage. And so once we had the data on the industry, 2008 hit, and as we know, everything crashed in real estate. And then again in 2020, we saw similar economic challenges for a lot of real estate asset classes. And through both of those 2 times of instability, we had self-storage outperform every other real estate asset class, period. And so wow. Once everybody saw that, the lowest default rates in history of any asset class and all the supporting data, we started seeing billions upon billions of dollars flooding into this asset class for good reason. And so that's kind of where the buzz in self-storage has arisen from.
Now I know a little bit about your background, and you didn't start in self-storage. So what led you to this opportunity specifically?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and it's taken me for some twists and turns through all kinds of different things, from hospitality to construction to storage and now tech. Yeah, so I started with a nightclub and a sports bar, got tired of dealing with the drunks and ended up developing a beach resort. And it turns out the drunks are worse at a beach resort than they are at the nightclubs. And so from there, I ended up getting into construction. My mentor was one of the titans of the construction industry in Canada. He was a major infrastructure guy, and so learned the ropes from him. And his son and I had the construction company together. And we had this unused piece of land that we were storing dump trucks and excavators on. And just started looking at it thinking, how could I monetize this in some other way and just get this producing some revenue for me? And so I threw together a little site plan and a quick pro forma to go with it, and took it to my accountant. I said, this looks pretty good. Am I on track here? And he took a look at my numbers. No, he's like, you're way off base. He's like, you need to boost those numbers. I went, oh, well, that's all the encouragement I need then. And so yeah, it led me into the self-storage industry, and that's how I first got involved.
I love it. I mean, you've got lots of different perspectives that you're building on, and you've been the construction guy as well. So, and like so many stories, it starts with, let's try this to solve one problem, and it turned out to be scalable. So what makes modular storage specifically unique?
Yeah, so my background wasn't in self-storage. And so I did have the construction background. So with the resources we had, we could have developed any type of facility. But my biggest issue was I didn't know what I didn't know about the industry. And I was concerned about product mix. Like, what happens if I build all 10 by 10s and the market wants 10 by 20s, or they want 5 by 5s, et cetera. And you can't really call up your competitors and ask, hey, what should I build to compete with you? So I had to look for ways to mitigate that risk. And again, not being from the industry, not knowing how things work, I just started looking for solutions to that. And I came across a product from a company called Boxwell, and they build portable modular storage units. And this product was originally built for infill development. So if you had an existing brick and mortar facility and an unused corner and you wanted to monetize it, you'd order some of these containers, put them in there, and start renting it. And I looked at this product and I just thought, well, this looks fantastic. Is there any reason I couldn't develop an entire facility out of it? That way I could use my best estimate for the product mix on the first half of the facility, start renting up, and I could see exactly what was renting. And then I could tailor every subsequent phase directly to consumer demand, thereby maximizing my occupancy and creating asymmetrical risk. And so ultimately that's what I ended up doing. And I'd love to tell you I was a savant and I could see into the future and knew it would come with all these other benefits, but it just kind of lucked out and worked that way that we didn't need any building permits. And so because we weren't permanently affixing anything to the site. And so because of that, we were able to go from breaking ground, raw land, to a cash flowing asset in 90 days. And that's absolutely unheard of. You'll never come across another development that can go, cash flowing in 90 days from start, right? And that really, kind of created a light bulb moment for me where I realized, like, okay, this is something special, right? And when we're looking at the Canadian landscape in self-storage, Canada is very underserved, particularly compared to the US. So the US has higher usage, but we're catching up on the usage front. And they're around 9 square feet per capita, depending on where you source your data from. Canada is around 2.5 square feet per capita. And so basically we are drastically underdeveloped in Canada compared to our neighbors down south of us. And so that creates this massive opportunity. And with our product, we are perfectly suited for the more rural markets. This type of storage development, it's not going to work in downtown Toronto or Vancouver. Land cost is a little too prohibitive for that. But in the more rural markets, and that's actually where most of the demand in Canada lies, is the more rural markets. This is the perfect product to go into those markets. And so again, we can rapidly enter these markets that have pent up demand, and we can service that demand quickly.
Well, let's just expand on that a little bit as far as how do you analyze whether or not a location is a good fit?
Yeah, so it starts with migration trends. So the first thing I want to see that the community is growing. We had a lot of migration trends happen during 2020, and I'm sure you can imagine people didn't want to live stacked on top of other people anymore. And so there was a lot of migration there. And so that created a lot of opportunity because you've got these smaller markets now that have had a large influx of people, and the development typically hasn't kept up. So if we see large migration trends into a region, that's a great positive sign. Then we analyze the storage development in that area to see if there's been any new developments come in to meet that demand. And then from there, if that all looks good, then we look for the delta between the land cost and the rental rates. So what we're searching for is we want the largest disparity between what existing rents are in the market and what the land can be purchased for. Because at the end of the day, what a self-storage facility is valued on is its cash flow, its net operating income. And nobody really cares what the dirt underneath costs. They just care about what the business cash flows, and that's how you value the asset at the end of the day. And so the more affordable the land is, and the higher the rental rates, the better you can do as a developer.
And is there anything? Land costs we know we can measure pretty well. Is there any sort of formula to assessing like the consumer or the rental rate from the consumer's point of view? Is there anything
Yeah,
that
there's
you
actually
use?
some great technologies out there that support the storage industry. So we've got tools like Radius Plus and Yardi. I don't think Yardi has quite the penetration into Canada. There's some other ones that we can use, and they're softwares that allow us to go in and view a map of the country, and it'll have all the facilities, all the competitors pinpointed, and you can click on them, and you can, it'll scrape the internet and pull in their rental rates and give you an idea of the landscape. And so you can quickly go in and see what the prevailing market rates are in a region and use that for your analytics.
That's pretty amazing. That's very amazing, actually. Is there, I mean, are we allowed to talk about it? Are there any hot spots that you've already identified on a list of where you'd love to build next?
I mean, there's all kinds of opportunity in Canada. We are so underserved that pick any secondary, tertiary market across this country, and chances are there's a good opportunity. You got to think, if we're 2.5 square feet per capita here in Canada, we're being pulled up by those major metros. So the Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, et cetera. Those are bringing the average up. And then it's the rural markets, the smaller markets, that are dragging that average down. So there's quite a few markets all across Canada that have, under 2 square feet per capita. And I'd say anything under 4 square feet per capita is a pretty good development opportunity. If you can build a facility and not exceed 4 to 5 square feet per capita by the time you're done your development, that's a huge win. And that's something that we would be very interested in looking at.
Well, we're kind of excited to be partnering with you to share this message here at Canada's Entrepreneur. So we're going to share a link down, in this podcast in the description below, where you can actually get a free assessment, right, with modular storage and determine whether or not your land is right for partnering with modular storage. Is there anything specific that you'd like to mention about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big opportunity for landowners. We're always looking for more opportunity for our developments, and the exciting thing that we can offer for landowners, if you've been sitting on a piece of land and you're a little unsure what to do with it, and you don't know if it's a viable opportunity for a storage development or not, we've actually set up a landing page, as you mentioned there. So you can go in, you can just give us a little bit of information about yourself and your land, and we'll conduct a free feasibility study to see whether storage is a viable fit. And if it is, we actually offer opportunity to partner with us. And so we can actually, you can vend your land in as a limited partner into a deal, and your land could actually end up netting you twice what it's worth by the time we've developed it into a self-storage asset, and then we refinance it out and pay you out for your land. So, if you've got $1 million piece of dirt that you're sitting on, you could get paid $2 million for it in 5 years.
And let's just a little bit of clarity there. Are you looking specifically to buy some land, or are you more looking to lease and work with the landowner?
It's truly up to the landowner. I mean,
Okay.
we are happy. We've got a partnership with a private equity firm, and so we do have access to capital if people just want to sell their land outright and a clean exit. We're happy to entertain that. If they want to be a partner with us and vend the land in and see some of that upside from us developing their property, we have that as an option as well. Some people, they have been holding on to these properties because they know that there's future value there. And so some of them just don't want to sell for that reason. They want to see some of that upside, and that's why they've been sitting on it for so long. And so we're offering that opportunity to people that you can participate with us and get some of that upside. You might not be the developer yourself, but we can partner with you and you get that advantage.
Excellent. And is there any preference, or whether it's private or public lands, or what the zoning needs to be to work?
Yeah, so typically in Canada, industrial zoning is what self-storage needs to be situated on. There are some rare municipalities that will allow it in commercial zones, et cetera, but we're generally looking for everything, zoning in place, ready to go. Now, if the landowner wanted to work with us and they weren't they weren't industrial zoned and they wanted to look at rezoning their property and et cetera, we'd certainly look at that. But generally speaking, ready to go, shovel ready is kind of what we're hoping to find.
Perfect. Well, how about we take a look at what are we talking about? Can you share your screen a little bit and show us a couple of examples of what you already built?
Futureville, building Canada's first healthy longevity village. Go to futureville.com to learn more.
Yeah, so this is one of our facilities. So even though it's modular in nature, it is, it doesn't look like a bunch of shipping containers in a field, right? That was very important to me. So they've got the typical roll-up doors. They look very much like any other self-storage facility that you would see anywhere. And so, our usual criteria, we want to see at least, we can do it on as small of a site as 1 acre, but typically we're looking for, 2 to 3 acres.
Okay.
Depending on the site and or on the location. But yeah, that's what we develop. So it's
awesome.
It's
fantastic. I'm a little bit curious if you can stack these things.
You can. Usually the markets that we're looking at are the land is low cost enough that you're better just go wider than trying to go upwards. Not to say that you couldn't, but then you get into more logistics as far as operating the facility and how do people access it, and potentially having to build walkways, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
Well, and this is perfect segue into something I would love for you to share with us is another unique value proposition is the actual technology, the access and the the autonomy of your actual modular solution. Do you want to just share a little bit more about your technology there?
Absolutely, yeah. So at the time when I developed my first facility, it was 2019 when I started the planning phase, and I thought to myself, okay, again, I was an outsider to the industry. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't realize that kind of the world had moved past storage and it was kind of outdated, right? Like there was still people doing business with paper ledgers and stuff like that, right? Like it was slow to adopt a lot of the technological changes. So, I'm thinking like, I don't want to sit behind a desk all day, just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for people to walk through the door, right? I'm a little bit too hyper for that. I need to be moving and doing stuff. So I started looking for technology that would allow me to run it unmanned and automated. And there wasn't really a whole lot on the market at the time. I was quite surprised. Like I figured there'd be some sort of holistic system, and it didn't exist. And so I actually had to start piecing one together myself. And so, I found the call center, and then I found the property management software I wanted to use. And then I found a hardware provider that had a smart entry system. And I actually had to get the original APIs built for the software I wanted to use so I could tie everything all together and make it work. And I just kind of set up this system for, what would work for me and how I wanted to run a facility. And at the time, I didn't realize I had done anything novel. It just kind of, again, I was just building what worked for me and my idea of how things should work in this industry. And it wasn't until about 18 months later when I ended up going to my first self-storage convention. And I started chatting with some of the other operators there and talking about my operation. They're like, you did what? How does that work? Like, how do you do that? And I was really like, nobody else is doing it. And that's when I realized I was one of the first people in the industry to actually implement a full automation system like that. But like any early adopter of a technology, we did find the limitations of the existing solution. And so, new tech always can come with some hiccups, and the main hiccups were reliability issues. So we had hardware failure rates of 13% on the actual locks. We had all kinds of battery issues where at first we were expecting to be able to get 4 years battery life, and we were lucky to get 6 to 18 months out of our batteries before they were dying. Quite often they die without notification. And so you can imagine every time that a lock fails, every time that a battery dies, that's a customer that's left stranded. And particularly in an unmanned scenario, if you're trying to run an automated facility, you need reliability on the part of the smart entry system, because that's what you do. You provide people storage and access to their storage. And so when the access fails, you can imagine, you're sitting there with a moving truck full of your belongings, and it's never a convenient time, and you want to get into your unit and all of a sudden you can't. That's a big issue. Mm-hmm. And so, years of kind of dealing with that and trying to fix that issue with the company and just kind of not really getting anywhere with it. Small improvements over time here or there, but I still have locks failing. Necessity is the mother of all innovation, and we ended up coming up with our own solution. And so this is actually our new smart lock for the industry. And so this is my new venture, my new company. It's called Blue Lock. And I ended up partnering with some industrial automation specialists from the oil and gas industry, and basically came to them and said, look, I need to have this level of reliability, because again, every time somebody gets locked out, like, that's costing me concessions, reputational damage, all those kind of points. And so this, I know it's self-storage, it's not, millions of dollars of lost revenue a day like they experience in their industry when things go wrong. But I figure if they're engineering parts that have to withstand that level of robustness, then they should be able to develop something quite robust for our industry as well. And so, they really sold me when they told me with their standards. They call it 5 nines. So what's that? And they said it means 99.999% uptime.
Nines. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow,
and so amazing. I was like, okay, if you can achieve anywhere close to that, I'm sold. And so, for the last 2 years, we've been quietly working behind the scenes and building out this product. And we're excited. We're launching the beta program right now. So we've got a number of storage facilities already signed up, some big national partners, which I'm pretty excited about, are going to start testing our product.
Nice.
And we expect full commercial rollout in 2026 now.
Okay, so the actual lock that you just showed us on the screen, is that where does that go in the facility? Is that
So that actually goes on the storage unit doors.
Okay.
The way this would work is you would come driving up to the facility, you'd approach the main gate, and you'd pull up your phone, and rather than having to get out and punch in, at a keypad or anything like that, you simply just open the app, press the button, and the gate's going to open for you. You come driving into the facility, walk up to your unit, again, press the lock button on your app, and your lock's going to unlock, and you can slide the latch open and access your belongings. And so for the tenant, it's a major convenience thing. No more losing your key or forgetting it. You've always got your phone on you. If you want to share a digital key, you can do that. So you can provide access to, a friend that's helping you move, or, your spouse, the moving company, if you're not actually going to be there and you don't have to, go meet up with them first, give them a key to your unit, get the key back after. If you're a commercial tenant, it allows you to create digital keys for all of your employees. And so you can have your employees come and go. And if, you part ways with an employee or something, again, you don't have that liability of a key floating around somewhere. You can just revoke access right from the app. And so major convenience for the tenants. And then for the operator, it really does allow that automated, unmanned operation. So typically in our industry, if people are late paying their bill, first of the month rolls around, you've got maybe 10 or 15 people that were late paying the bill. You have to go and manually overlock every single one of those units. And then, maybe on the second, one person pays their bill. On the 8th, 2 people pay their bill. And, the 15th, another, and you're going and you have to go back and forth every time and take off that overlock. And there's some solutions on the market, but what this does is this just allows it to be automated by the system. So as soon as they're late paying the bill, the system just locks them out. They go online, they pay their bill, they're automatically reinstated access. Right. So as an operator, you're saving a lot of labor.
Wow. So how does that, we now have unmanned modular storage solutions in Canada in a highly underserved market. One thing that we talked about when we met Max was, why storage? Like, why? Let's talk about the community and the love and the why storage is actually so important to the way our lifestyles operate today.
I mean, when you look at the development trends of what are happening across the country, we're experiencing a lot of infill development. With our aging infrastructure, it doesn't make sense to continue sprawling out in a lot of senses. And so what we're seeing is a lot more infill. So you're taking large lot single family homes and they're getting torn down, and you're seeing 2 duplexes pop up on there. Right. And so now you have 4 families living where 1 family used to live. And I mean, logistically, cities need to develop in that way. Density is much easier to manage. But what that creates issues for where are you going to put all your belongings? You've got 4 families living where one used to be able to comfortably live and store all their stuff. And so whether that's lifestyle items like, your mountain bike or your snowboards or seasonal stuff, your winter tires, you name it, right? We are a convenience to communities that are experiencing these redevelopments, right? And so that's certainly one way that we help the community. And then another is a lot of small businesses. You've got all kinds of new internet-based businesses and drop shipping and stuff like that. And you can only work out of your garage for so long before your garage fills up, and then maybe you need some additional space. Well, we're an asset there. Tradespeople that want to keep their tools safe and somewhere accessible in the middle of town, or conveniently located, right, rather than having to run to wherever they might have their tools. Otherwise, we have plenty of contractors that rent from us, and so we're really here to support the community. And honestly, it might sound kind of morbid, but also there's a lot of life challenges that arise for people, and we're here as a resource for people during those. So, death, divorce, downsizing, dislocation, all these terrible things that happen to people. You need somewhere to put your stuff. A loved one passes away and you inherit all their belongings and you got to clear out their house. Where are you going to put it all? Well, that's what we're here for. Separations that occur, and again, you got to put some stuff away and whatever, or you've got to downsize because, God forbid you lost your job or whatever, right? We are a resource for people so that they don't have to just, struggle to figure out what they're going to do with all their belongings. We're a resource for those times as well.
Well, and I'm excited about the idea that not only are you serving the existing market that you just talked about, but you're actually a solution that can help shape and let people rethink how communities are built, right? So we're looking at building a village style development ourselves, and we want it to be walkable, and we want people to bump into each other. And so we want to put things like storage on the outside of a community so that, the important things are, talking to people, walking and meeting people in your village. And I think that's the trend, right? Suburbia is a model, but also there's lots of new developments that are a little bit more regenerative and more community focused. And really, I see you as an integral partner there.
Yeah, I mean, and as these communities are being built and people are looking to relocate into them, we are that resource as well as people are transitioning into the new housing and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, certainly, I think we're an integral part of communities. People have stuff, and it matters to them. It's they're important belongings to a lot of people, and so yeah, we're here to be that resource to allow those kind of things to happen.
So again, we're excited about sharing your message. We know there's an opportunity there. It's both a community service, but also an entrepreneurial revenue opportunity to partner with you. So we would encourage you to fill out and take advantage of Max's offer to get a no-cost obligation. If you have land now, but also fill in your details, even if you are, if you're in a community that is expanding and you believe that an automated self-storage solution would be valuable in your community, take the initiative and if there's enough of you, we're happy to actually bring Max to you. We're happy to do a deep dive, a little bit more of a Q&A if you're interested in an event coming up. So by all means, regardless of where you are at in the timing of your modular storage in your community, encourage you to fill out the form in the link below. And Max, is there anything more that you'd love to share with our audience?
Not that I can think of. I mean, we kind of covered it all. If anybody does have questions, feel free to reach out. The link, I think you said, would be in the show notes or attached down below the video somewhere. You can check us out at modularstorage.ca. That's Perfect. Our actual website there. And if you've got any direct questions for me that, maybe you're not interested in filling out the land piece, but you just have some questions about the industry, or want to learn or just connect, feel free to just reach out through that website, and I'm happy to stay in touch. And I mean, I can talk about storage all day, so it's I love it. Boring is the new sexy, so this is it's a boring industry that excites me. So
I don't think there's anything boring about accelerating a community, Max. It has been a pleasure meeting you and finding out more about your solutions, both modular storage and entirely and Blue Block, the technology. So we'll see you again. Thanks for listening here on Canada's Entrepreneur.
Thanks so much, Angela. Appreciate it.
Futureville, building Canada's first healthy longevity village. Go to futureville.com to learn more.
Canada's Entrepreneur, where we talk to the entrepreneurs who are making it happen across Canada and deliver the news, trends, knowledge, and opinions from entrepreneurs and business influencers across the country.